Alright, can you hear me? Um, I'm making this video because my phone broke and I'm making a response to a Reddit thread here. I just wanted to show you what I did to fix my Sony Xperia XZ1 compact, as the SIM card was no longer detected, and what happened was my phone had died, it ran out of battery, and upon charging it up and then turning it on again, I had no service. I looked at my settings. I looked at my settings on my device here, and there was something odd here. It didn't say Freedom Mobile. I'm with Freedom Mobile. It said activate your Freedom SIM, and so I clicked on it, but it did absolutely nothing. And so I'm like, that's weird. So I rebooted the phone again, and to my dismay, the SIM card was no longer detected whatsoever. So as you can see here, it's working now. It's detected, and I didn't need to factory reset. So that's awesome. I'll tell you how I fixed it. But first I'll show you that I was looking for solutions, and just 1 month ago, Fight the Feel, he or she says, no SIM after battery dies, no service, and then a blurb that said T-Mobile SIM on or off or something like that. When I pressed on, nothing happened, so I rebooted again. Now it won't recognize my SIM card at all. This sounds exactly like the same thing that happened to me. So other people are having this issue, and it's very strange. It's very strange. So I had this happen to me before. It was a very strange phenomenon. And last time I did it, I used a software called Emma, Sony Emma Flash tool Emma, Sony Mobile Emma. It looks like this, as you can see, and I was able to use this to flash the stock firmware onto it. Doing that fixed my issue. I was able to reflash LineageOS back on my phone. I'll mention that this phone is LineageOS, which might be a part of the problem. But flashing the stock firmware and then reflashing LineageOS was able to fix this issue. Now, I didn't want to do that this time because it's such a pain in the butt, so I was looking for other solutions. So I came across this forum and a couple other pages talking about erasing modems T1, modems T2, these two files, because they get corrupted somehow or something like that happens to them. And if you overwrite them with zeros and then you reboot the phone, apparently that fixes the issue. So I wanted to do this, so I thought to myself, maybe I'd just be able to do like ADB shell, and then I'll run the command dd /infofile equals /dev/0. If you look at the contents of /dev/0, it's literally just a bunch of zeros. It's zeros to infinity. So we're going to take those zeros as the input file, and we're going to take the output file and put it to our block device, which is the modems T1 and modems T2. We'll have to run two separate commands for that. So /dev/block/by name modems T1 and T2. I'll choose T1, and you'll show me it'll show that permission is denied. Same with T2. It's not going to let me do that. Permission denied. Why is that the case? Well, I need to be in root. So not only do you need to go into your root settings of the phone, go into your debug developer option settings and turn on allow USB debugging as root. You also need to do adb root, and then you can do it as a root, and that command will go through, but I'll tell you, it still won't work. Why won't it work? Well, I'll tell you. It's because I have no idea whatsoever. I have no idea. So I couldn't run these commands from just my terminal here, connecting my phone to my computer and using USB debug. I can't do that. As a precursor, we do need USB connectivity in order to run the solution. So if you don't know how to do that, screen copy, this will just let me show you. Screen copy. I'll show you my phone. How do you get to the developer options? Well, you're first going to go to your settings. You're going to go all the way down to About Phone, Build Number. Tap on this many times. No need, you have already enabled development settings. So once you do that, you're going to be able to go into these developer settings, and you're going to go all the way down to USB debugging. If you turn this on, this is how we will do the solution. And you can also turn on rooted debugging. That's what I was just talking about. I don't think it's necessary for the solution, but if you're doing other troubleshooting, that might be helpful. So now that we have that, we need to download TWRP. We need to get the newest version of the TWRP recovery. So I'll show you TWRP recovery XZ1 compact. It's from the TeamWin website. Since this is an American phone, it's the Sony G8 441. If you have the international model, it'll have a different number. It'll start with SO instead of G. So make sure that it's the America's version, or it's the America's version, not the Europe version. Click on America's if that's what you need, and you're going to download this TWRP lilac.image. Once it's downloaded, you're going to go back to your terminal. I have a Linux terminal. You'll have to figure something else out. Oops. You'll have to figure something else out if you're on Windows or Mac. But if you have a custom ROM like Lineage, you're more than likely going to have a Linux box somewhere in your house. So if you don't already, please consider it because it's extremely powerful. So as you can see, I already have this installed. Now, how to install it on your device? Well, you're going to need the fastboot command. And you're going to have to turn off your phone. So you're going to power down your phone. Again, I'm running some variation of Arch Linux, so I download the Android platform tools in my own way. Do whatever you need to do to get the Android platform tools on your own device. So now that your phone is powered off, you're going to want to hold the volume up button. The volume up button, and you should have your USB cable plugged into your computer. Now you're going to use a USB cable, make sure it has data on it, and you're going to plug it into your phone as you're holding the volume up button. So it's held, I'm plugging the phone in, and you'll notice that the notification light, the LED, it turns blue. Now this blue is a great sign that you are now in fast boot mode. You have booted into the bootloader mode or whatever it is. And if you run this fastboot command, fastboot devices, fastboot, you'll see that my device shows up. It didn't show up. If I unplug the device right now, nothing would show up here. It would have no output. But since it's plugged in and that blue light is on, I can see this device. Now, to flash the recovery, the one that we just downloaded, the TWRP, you're going to run fastboot flash recovery. Then you're going to give it the path to that TWRP file. Now this should take, it took me like less than a few seconds, so if you've got a slower computer, it might take a little bit more time. Fastboot flash recovery, and then the file name. That's all you need. So if this completes successfully, you're now able to unplug your phone. The blue light should come off, and now, before we held the volume up button and plugged it in, now we're going to hold the volume down button and hold the power button in at the same time. So you can press them both in at the same time. It's going to seem like it's booting as it normally would, but it instead will boot into recovery mode if we're holding down this volume down button and the power button at the same time. You'll see TeamWin recovery project, and it'll show you this this menu where you swipe to allow modifications. Once you swipe to allow modifications, you're going to hit this advanced button, and you're going to hit the terminal button. And it'll bring you to a terminal, much like the one that you see here. Now, I can't show you this because I can't record my screen on on the phone, but you're going to type out this command. It's a dd command, if you don't know. dd just copies some data into another area. In this case, we're going to do dd if equals, this is the input file now, /dev/0. So /dev/0 is a bunch of zeros. We're trying to overwrite something right now, and we're taking these zeros and we're putting them in another file. Now, what file are we putting it in? Well, that's a great question. It's actually the modem's file. Yeah, it's not going to be here, but there are two files. One of them is called /dev/block/by_name/modems_t1, and the other one is going to be modems t2. So we're going to run this command on the TWRP recovery terminal. dd if equals /dev/0 of, this is going to be the output file. Excuse my poor syntax here. So we have the input file and then we have the output file. Now we'll run this command. This isn't going to do anything on my computer, obviously, because this file doesn't exist on my computer, but it does exist on your phone. Going to run that command. If it completes successfully, we're going to run that command again, except use modems t2. Now, a quick trick to rerun the previous command, or like pull the previous command up, is you're going to use the up arrow. So if I do like echo hello, I'm going to press the up arrow. You'll see that you have an up arrow on the keyboard in TWRP terminal. It'll bring back that command again. So you can change it. That you just change the 1 to a 2, and it makes the process a lot easier than typing out the whole thing on your phone. So you run these two commands, then hopefully now all you need to do is reboot the phone. So you're going to go back, press the back arrow, the Android back arrow, and go back until you see the option to reboot, the power options. Reboot your phone, and it took me 2 reboots. I believe it took me 2 reboots. The first reboot, it said the SIM card was detected, but I had no service. There's an X over the signal bar. And the next reboot, it started working as intended, as it's meant to work. So I'm hoping that this solves your issue as well. If it did, please let me know. This really bugged me the first time it happened, and I'm really glad I don't have to go through that whole process of flashing the stock firmware. Side note, you can't flash the stock firmware anymore through that Emma software I was referring to. Emma now forces you to create an account, and to create an account you need to have it approved by a Sony representative. So that's really fun. That's thanks Sony, appreciate that. Yeah, so hopefully this works for you. That's going to be the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.